There's only a few more days left on the Yelan banner, and a lot of people are asking themselves the question of whether they should pull for Yelan or continue saving up for Kazuha. Hi, my name is Blossums and welcome to another Genshin Impact video today. And this is a question that I've been getting a lot recently, if people should pull for Yelan or if they should just continue to save for Kazuha or Kazuha. So today we're going to be going over the pros as well as what each brings to your account in terms of character and how useful they are and how universally applicable they may be to your Genshin Impact experience. And for spoilers in general, just as a quick one here, if you guys want the short and sweet, I think you should save for Kazuha. I think he's more applicable to most people's accounts, but let's not sell Yelan short. Let's go ahead and talk about her first. First off, Yelan is an excellent off-field hydro applier, which is insanely useful for a lot of team comps. A lot of people since the beginning of Genshin Impact have oftentimes been at the point where they're doing Spiral Abyss and they want a Xingqiu on both teams. Well, Yelan allows us to do that now because she essentially functions the same exact way, albeit some differences, of course, and there are instances where Xingqiu is going to be better than Yelan, and there is the fact that they're both amazing together, but that's a whole nother point and topic that we could discuss. But yeah, she fills in that role of excellent off-field hydro application, which is useful for vaporizes, electro-charged, freeze comps. It's just very good in general, so she can fit in a lot of teams, which is fantastic. Not to mention that that same elemental burst that you use also gives a damage bonus to whoever is on the field due to one of her passives, which is also fantastic because of the fact that this isn't element restricted or anything. This is just whoever's on the field is getting a straight damage bonus, which is awesome. And then to top it off on there, one of my favorite aspects to her kit is, of course, the E skill and the charge shot. The E skill is hyper underrated in my opinion, just for the fact that it gives you mobility, 1, 2, it does excellent damage, and 3, while you're in this E skill that moves faster than your normal sprint, you actually recharge your stamina, which is super underrated in my opinion. It helps you just recoup some of your stamina to be able to get some more dodges going, which is fantastic, and I think a lot of people sleep on that part. There's also the charge shot, which is fantastic. It's a charge shot that has an 80% reduced charge time as long as she's off the field for 5 seconds, and this charge shot is what separates the good Yelan players from the bad Yelan players, adds that little bit of a skill gap in a character that I personally really enjoy, and it does really solid damage. If you set it up properly, it can do really strong damage, and not to mention that you can actually reset the charge shot with your E skill, which is awesome. It allows this really cool gameplay loop. I like that her bracelet glows whenever the charge shot is ready. It's very good. It's a very fun kit to use and amazing in general. That E skill is also going to be good for overworld traveling. Regaining your stamina is going to be really fantastic. But yeah, she's bringing a lot to the table. Not to mention that she's also very easy to build. A lot of people don't think about this when they pull her characters, but Yelan is a very, very easy character to build. You just slap HP on her, or you can go HP Hydro Crit, which is a little bit more optimal, but you can go either or, and you're going to be having a good time because all of her damage scales off of her HP. And what a lot of people aren't discussing about this is the fact that this also means that your weapon choice doesn't matter nearly as much as it does on a lot of other characters. Because her skills and elemental burst scale off of max HP, the base attack of her weapon doesn't matter nearly as much because those damage numbers aren't scaling off of HP. Therefore, you can just use whatever is going to fit her kit the best, which is oftentimes going to be a 4-star like Favonius Warbow, or if you have something like Elegy at the end, that's going to be fantastic as well. But this makes her very easy to build. There's also a 3-star that's good, and that is something that is underrated as well. She's super easy to build, going to be good for overworld, and fantastic on a myriad of team comps as a hydro applier. And if you think you need that a lot in your account, then I think she's a pull for you. But if you have a Xingqiu, it's largely going to be filling that role already, so you don't necessarily need her, even though she still brings a lot to the table whether you have a good Xingqiu or not. A couple things I forgot to mention about Yelan is the fact that her E skill actually has a little bit of ag control. It's nothing too crazy, it's not super potent, but it is there and it does help you gather up some different opponents, which is very nice. Also, her elemental burst has homing. It's basically a homing missile. It's pretty insane. Xingqiu's doesn't have that homing, and I know there's been a couple of times times at least where I've missed with Xingqiu, but literally her homing is so crazy that the enemy can teleport the behind you and it will 180 and go hit that enemy, which is pretty cool. Of course, this still can miss, I'm pretty sure, if you're just like not looking at anybody, but yeah, that is also another factor to it. Why, oh why do I recommend Kazuha over Yelan? Well, Kazuha is just crazy. He's one of the most crazy characters in the game. His E-skill has unparalleled crowd control. Whether you press or hold it, it's fantastic. It does good damage. It also does insane swirl application to everybody around, and not to mention swirl on this character is ridiculous. Not only does he buff your elements upon triggering a swirl reaction, that swirl does really good damage because of something like the Viridescent Venom, which is just an insane set, and partially why he's just so ridiculously strong, because not only are you getting extra animo damage, you're getting extra swirl damage, and you're debuffing the target by whatever you swirl, and you're also buffing your other character of that element via his passive. So not only you're debuffing, you're buffing and controlling the crowd. It's really insane. And not to mention his elemental burst is a little damage over time thing that also continues these swirls and keeps up these debuffs, which is fantastic. But the fact that his E-skill launches him to in the air is hyper underrated. There's been several times where I have dodged a definitely about to kill me attack with his E-skill because it launches you in the air, you dodge the attack, and that happens far more often than I think a lot of people realize. Not to mention, he's also just reducing your stamina in general via his passive Cloud Strider, your sprinting stamina at least, so that's fantastic. He just really isn't that insane, and he's also pretty easy to build. He just takes all EM pieces, really, if you want. That can be very difficult. It took me months to get an EM Goblet, but it's also good to know that he has two other viable builds, like a hybrid EM build and just like a DPS build. You can go with all of those, and he's going to do fantastically. Some are, of course, objectively better than others, but they are all fine and are going to work for you very well, so your artifacts are fairly flexible on it. He also has the same aspect as Yelan as being applicable to a ton of teams, if not far more teams, just because he's going to be your debuffer and buffer and crowd control at the same time, which is very strong. He's also going to have that same aspect as Yelan as being a good open world character. That E-skill launching you in the air has saved me a ton of times. It's basically a free double jump, which is fantastic, helps you get around a lot, and is just super handy. All around, Kazuha is definitely one of my favorite characters, and if you are considering between him and Yelan, I really recommend you just go for him. If you have enough to guarantee a Kazuha and maybe get Yelan, you know, maybe get yourself a Yelan. That's okay. Yeah, all around, Kazuha is just fantastic, and between him and Yelan, I don't really think justifying Yelan over him is there. I'd say Kazuha is one of the few like must pull units where he just is that strong and just does that much for your team. So yeah, I think overall Kazuha is going to be an objectively better pool, but at the end of the day, spend your primos however you want. If you saw something in Yelan's kit that you just can't live without, then pull for her. It's going to be a-okay. She's going to be a very fun character, I guarantee you. But if you had to choose between one or the other and you care about what is objectively going to be better, then I think Kazuha is going to be the pick. But maybe your account's different. Maybe you really need that off-field Hydro Plier, and maybe you need a second one. Then Yelan might be for you. And hopefully this general list and kind of what I talked about helped you decide today. But I don't want this video to go too long. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.